I love you. I really do. And the reason is very simple, because you're different. Not only from everybody else, but from each other. And that's important, because each one of you imagine different things. Now, we have gathered here today to celebrate country music. This is probably the biggest country music festival in Berlin I've been to. It's really good. But we have still some work to do, as you will see right now. This is AI playing country music. Let's go. Sing along if you can. It's really good. Especially the lyrics.
Her daddy was strong and the stars heaven. The road was a gambler for a great big bet. He was money, the devil, the crazy strings,
good,
and
no?
the shot of her lady. And she said,
here comes the chorus.
No, you can't take my door. I don't wanna love you anymore. Let my heart
be my face. That's good.
Whiskey good and a whiskey straight. No, you
Can't take my door. Yes. Yeah. Country music lovers, welcome to Berlin. This is why we gathered, because I'm pretty sure if we just pull our brains together, we can do that a little bit better. Yeah. Or it's maybe the bias of developers against country music. I don't know what you guys putting in these algorithms there. I have a preference for heavy metal, so there you go. But I do hope that we will do it a little bit better. A friend of mine said it once, design is hope made visible. And my question to you is, what do you hope for? Because what you hope for will be what you will imagine. And what you imagine will be what you shape. And it is a dangerous journey. This spaceship, Earth, takes us places, and you decide where. And the question is sometimes, isn't there an easier way to make a career, you know? And I think this guy explains it pretty well.
Dr. McCoy is right in pointing out the enormous danger potential in any contact with life and intelligence as fantastically advanced as this. But I must point out that the possibilities, the potential for knowledge and advancement is equally great. Risk is our business. That's what the Starship is all about.
That's what the Starship is all about. We are in time where every step could be a risk or could be an opportunity. So what have you imagined? Because only with this power of your imagination can you build something and shape it and deliver it to us. And with that imagination comes very, very heavy questions, you know? Really heavy questions that you need to ask every morning when you get up. And this is the most important question in the world. And the question is obviously, what's the future? What is the future? This is the question I'm asking myself every morning. And the reason I'm doing it, because I'm accountable for it. I'm a designer of the future, and so are you, even if you don't think so. Especially when we come together in groups like this, we shape the future, we build the future. And as this conference motto is, people code the future. And the future can look very different sometimes. It's converging and it's fast and it's unexpected. Some of you have seen this example and I still love it. So I will show it to you again. Who plays with Barbie? Oh yeah, it's happening. Good. This is what Barbie can do for us. Think about it.
I want to be a scientist.
Eureka! A scientist. I think science is so amazing. Why do you want to be a scientist?
I always really liked chemistry and physics in school.
The study of physics is incredible. Take gravity. You can't see it, but the second you trip, it's right there to pull you down. Did you ever fall or trip on something?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, unfortunately, all the time.
All the time.
It happens to me all the time. sometimes with an ouch.
Sometimes with an ouch. Isn't she great? I had this thing, it cost €100, bought it off internet. It's a toy. I lost her in Tel Aviv. She's probably somewhere there having dinners and conversations with someone. Now, think about it. It's Wi-Fi, it's cloud computing, it's natural language processing, all in that thing, €100, that probably computes more than what your workstation did 15 years ago. It's amazing. But it's also an ecosystem of change. Ecosystem of technologies that affects people's lives. This is one of our customers, Mattel. Now imagine, because that's what you're going to shape, maybe, if Barbie can sense that the kid is hungry, right? Through sensors or through direct speech detection and understanding, semantic understanding. What business is she in then? What kinds of ecosystems of human experiences open up? And remember, Barbie has your credit card, you're the parent, it's like Spotify. And there's drones and there's GPS and a hamburger can be delivered to the kid right now, 10 minutes. Right? Is that the future we want? Don't judge, just think about it. Because you can code that. Somebody is probably doing it already. And what if the hamburger is stolen by some other kid? Yeah? What business is Barbie in then? I mean, she can record the face with her eyes, and we have face recognition. Who does she call? SAP? The parents? Mattel? I don't know, the police? Hi, is it the police? It's Barbie. I just solved the crime, I did your job. By the way, if you're not paying attention, she could do that as well. Yeah? Fortunately, or unfortunately, I got this email the other week, actually, so the project is cancelled. It was great as long as we were friends, because people are a little bit concerned. Barbie is listening. Barbie is listening to the kids. So see, all sorts of futures and imaginations open up. Things that we read in science fiction books are actually happening. One of these things that I will just mention briefly is the industrialization of space. Joel there, he worked for NASA, now he's building this yellow thing to capture asteroids, to make rocket fuel out in space, because we need gas stations, he says. We will live and work in space, in our solar system. That stone is worth 8,000 quadrillion pounds. It's a funny number, yeah? Like a Harry Potter number, 8,000 quadrillion. Try to say it. Now, that is happening. What I call this is articulation. This is imagination becoming a shape. This articulation we could call industrialization of space. SAP is not going to space, but our customers are. So it's happening. Science fiction is becoming science fact. Anybody remembers Mike Tyson? Yeah? Let's have a look.
Seen any of these. So I want you to read this one first.
Want to read what he said?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Yeah. Snoop Dogg on the other side, if you didn't notice. It's not perfect, but it's quite good, no? How about this guy?
Simply, President Trump is a total and complete dipshit. Now, you see, I would never say these things. At least not in a public address. But someone else would. Someone like Jordan Peele. This is a dangerous time.
It's a dangerous time. So what do we hope for? What have we imagined? What are we shaping? Right? I mean, this thing will be democratized. You will be able to do it on your iPhone or whatever phone very, very soon. And very soon, this is an experience we're putting in heads of people. They experiencing it. Some of them might think that that experience is the true one. And I'm not getting philosophical here, I'm just saying. Experiences shape our behaviors. This is why design and building code is so important. You are coding human behavior. Behaviors become social movements. Social movements becomes politics. Politics becomes everything we know, economies. Code is political. especially when you can connect your brain to the internet very, very soon, especially when you can control machines with your minds like these two people do. They are paralyzed. The guy over there is driving a Formula 1 car with his brain waves. The lady over there, she's typing 8 words per minute. That was 2 years ago. It's probably much faster today. So we will have knowledge in our brains, and the experiments are happening as we speak. Something is going on. Because these experiences that we saw with the deep fake, with Obama and so on, are now being imagined to actually being implanted in our brains. So we can recode human experiences, maybe. That would be interesting. And 2 years ago in Vienna, I showed this little pill. It's as big as a grain of rice. You can swallow it. And it will measure your body temperature. That's pretty cool. Now, grain of rice. Yesterday, I saw this. The grain of rice is the white thing you see there. Below that is a tiny little computer that can measure temperature and other stuff and compute and send the data out. For example, out of your body. Yeah? That's interesting, because probably we meet each other 10 years from now, and we will talk about sensors that are in your coffee, right? Which would be interesting, because then you can drink sensors. How about these sensors being able to place data in your body? Because neuroscience is so far gone by then that we can understand how to connect knowledge in our brain that comes from outside the body. How about one of you starting a startup that makes a drink that does this? You drink in the morning a little bit of German poetry and kung fu. It's up to you how to combine that. I don't know. But again, science fiction is becoming science fact. Between these two, there's science and you, your imagination and your power of shaping experiences, human experiences. Now, innovation is a tricky thing. I guess many of you have heard this, validate, incubate, scale, right? It's really good, it really works, design thinking, agile development, and so on. Minimal viable prototypes. It's great, because this is actually a part of the innovation. But this is, for me, the incremental innovation. The innovation you can do now for problems that you exactly can describe, so you run really effectively. You have your budgets, you have your resources, time and money, everything. You're doing things right. And doing things right feels really good. It's a human bias, by the way. If you're good at tennis, you will like to play tennis, yeah? Not hockey, because you suck at hockey, so you don't play. We're good at this. Execution. This is pure operations for me. It's not really the innovation we are looking for. Let's be honest. Because we need to place this in a little bit bigger context. And this is what we're doing in our laboratories. This is what we do in our teams when we try to do these narratives. I think this kind of operations and resource-based innovation comes in the end. Because you can really do things effectively, run very fast in a direction. And you'll be proud, you get the bonus. We're running fast in that direction. And then I would say, how do you know this is the right direction? Nokia didn't know, BlackBerry didn't know, Blockbusters didn't know, it can go on forever. Very efficient, did everything right. But they didn't do the right thing. And this is how we're trying to approach the world. This is why I'm showing the crazy banana stuff that is happening today and maybe pointing in this crazy future of ours. Because we need to explore. We need to know the future fabric. What does the future contain? How can we connect that in narratives that I tried to do here earlier? What is your strategic point of view? This is where you stick your head out. Where your company says, this is the narratives we're seeing. This is where we want to play an active role and have an absolute positive and impactful contribution to this. This has become our strategy. We will ideate on how to go there. This is, for me, a more complete picture of a transformative innovation rather than the incremental running after money and with the resources we already know. We need to really investigate things we do not know. The imaginative, the stuff without the direct return on investment. The stuff that we do not have the technology for, where we don't know the market response yet because there's no numbers for that. Because if you only play in the operations, you're actually really good. You're a really talented person. you will be really appreciated. Schopenhauer, a philosopher, said it pretty beautifully. He said, talent hits the target no one can hit. You win. You really win. You hit the target nobody could hit. And probably you get very rich. The thing is, genius hits the targets nobody can see. So what do you see? What is your vision? I made a little rocket here that is animated. I hope it works. It took some time. I'm not great at this. This is another way of seeing looking at the 3 horizons of innovation, where the 3rd horizon you cannot forecast to. Because if you can, it's not the 3rd horizon. The 3rd horizon builds on your imagination and the stuff you do not know. So you need to articulate it well. Like, for example, saying, we're going to put a man on the moon. The same guy is coming back alive. We have 10 years. That's pure imagination. We didn't even have the algorithms how to navigate in space by then. 10 years later, we had a dude coming back alive, pretty happy. What happens there is that we fuel our rocket with imagination and inspiration. This is important for any team, any endeavor out when you want to change stuff, transform stuff. Don't land this rocket on your little space out there, the 3rd globe from the sun. Do not, because this is pure imagination. You will fail, and people will laugh at you. But use the momentum of this inspiration and articulation of where you want to be, and the gravity slingshot around that star to come back where you actually can operate. The 2nd horizon of innovation, where you can pull resources from where you stand, you can forecast, you can ask your people around you. It can be the developers you know. It can be your partners. It can be your startups or academia, the science. They can help you this time with the same inspiration build this product, this service, this rocket for real. And then you can take it out in space. And I think a great example of that is from 1982, I believe. Have you seen this prototype before? Anybody? For sure, yeah. I love how they stated it and said, yeah, in the future, this is early 80s, remember, in the future, we want to make a book you can carry in one hand, like this. And this book will be connected to all other books via a radio link. And we can download all kind of knowledge in that book, and people can learn it in 20 minutes. It's a nice vision, no? Totally bananas, impossible. So they made this thing of plastic in papier-mâché. You know, this is just an empty prototype. But you need to fuel your rocket somehow, right, in the 3rd horizon. And they tried again. Hey, maybe it should look like a book. You maybe should close it like that. And you can see the shape of things to come, yeah? And then reality strikes. Boom. That's ugly. But actually, it's a product. It's your minimal viable prototype of your dream. What did you hope for? And therefore, it is actually poetically beautiful. And you can sell it, because there will be an idiot that buys it. But then you go to work again, you make it a little bit better, and you call it MacBook, because you still have that dream. But you still know that this is too heavy, you cannot carry it around, and by the way, it's not really what we dreamed of. How about these touch displays? Nah, too small and too fragile, too expensive. But this is what we can do, let's do it. But in the end, you have your book you can carry around and learn in 20 minutes. I know Apple is used a lot in these examples, but I think they're used too little. Sometimes they actually had a really great journey through the innovation. We're also making this kind of journey. We try to learn and try to understand, as you've seen as I've been presenting. And we said that we need an innovation vision. We are here to improve people's lives and make the world run better. That's our far-out story. The good thing with that story is that we can never achieve it. Every Monday morning, 2035, we can still improve people's lives and make the world run better. And that inspires me. That gets me up in the morning. What's the future? So we said, if we're building systems for people, and we can actually put experiences in front of them, how about this? All these solutions should be the most empathic symbiosis between machine intelligence and human ingenuity. Most empathic symbiosis, like we need each other, we love each other, we understand each other, we inform each other. And there are 4 sort of directions. Not directions, but dimensions we could go. Automation, autonomy, augmentation, and the markets of, oh sorry, it says autonomy, it should be markets of abundance. If you look at this side, you know this very, very well. This is totally operational data, but on that side, you have the experience data, the human ingenuity and the machine intelligence living together in one space. And there are several examples how that could look. From automation and autonomy perspective, and I don't mean mobility autonomy like self-driving cars, but you know, what would be the concept car coming from a software company rather than from Daimler, BMW, or whoever else? How about this? You order this car for your city, or maybe even privately, even in the future. Who knows how that would work? And it's available immediately. Starts to order its own components, because it can send out tenders, quality specs, legislation, taxes, supply chain negotiations, you know, the best fit and the best practices are recorded. And they are stored maybe and certified by a distributed ledger. The car learns from mistakes before and the engineering mistakes that can be repaired, so the orders and the engineering, it looks a little bit different. Projects are set up for delivery, controlling, administration, and management. By the way, these are occupations people have today. These are tasks in their lives that they do, controlling, administration, and management, that most likely will be administrated by machines. So we have an estimated delivery. Estimated first business by this car. This is a company making money, driving people, kids, packages, while being delivered to you. Insurance, healthcare, in-car entertainment, car sharing, likes and preferences of you. Your experiences are recorded and they're reflected back to you even better, safely and securely. Network of services. And your personal life is coming together in a concept. This car exists before it is a physical being. It helps you, it's a part of your life, it's an experience. Or imagine being a startup and you want to work with the big guys. I don't know, Siemens, for example, making a solar plant ecosystem somewhere in a desert. And imagine a part is breaking down there. This part knows its history. It also knows how it could be made better. So it orders itself, but with these betterings, okay? It also orders itself under the prerequisite stored on blockchain that if you can deliver my replacement and recycle me to 100%, you get the job. So that tender goes out, an engineer starts to do the mechanics of that part. Maybe it's a battery or something. Maybe it's a Thai company, one guy engineering that. Someone else is 3D printing that, and they are chipping in the 3D printing network of people around the globe, because sometimes you cannot afford all the 3D printers with all the chemicals. Then someone flies that through drone networks across Europe or across US to be installed by a robot that installs that is operated by a one-man company from, I don't know, Toronto, sitting there in his underwear in his sofa. Yeah, there, installed, and it's inspected, everybody gets paid, and probably is on their next job. This is autonomy and automation coming together. In the very near future, this is actually no science fiction, and many of you know this already. Many of the startups and the things we are doing are actually on the market in this direction. Now, the human experiences, different animal. So the O data, the operational data, what is the experience data? How do we code these experiences? And how do we measure them? I had to look this up. So when a plane is flying, how many pilots do we have here? No pilots? That's good. So I can make little shit up here. When you have a vertical speed, basically you could be diving 20%, and you say, that's okay, I'm a good pilot, I'm saving this, until you see the other measurement. You're just 1 kilometer from the ground, and it's night. You have no idea you're going to die. 5, 4, 3, 2, dead. We bought a company that measures both human experiences and your business operations. They say that this experience management is a network of people, relationship, and information to close the experiences gaps that people have about their expectations. And you know, we do have real expectations. I don't know how many of you really love Ryanair. Yeah, like this. The thing is, they also went out and measured a little bit of experiences, and they were astonished that people have opinions. about how they fly and when they fly and what it costs. So they had a program called Always Getting Better. Can you imagine? And you should appreciate them for that. And they increased their profit from 867 to 1,024,000,000 just by knowing what people were thinking about them. And the CEO said, yeah, if I'd only known being nice to customers was going to work so well. This is a quote from entrepreneur.com. Sorry, I forgot to show you. Knowing people's experiences, apparently good business, even for Ryanair. Knowing people's experiences is also very good for engagement and collaboration and thought exchange between people. It's been proved that skilled workers, that's you by the way, if you, are demanding a different experience. They want their voice heard. They want to craft their environments and the experience. So employee experience is becoming something else. You need to know your employee experience. And you know, it took some time. You maybe noticed that I'm a little bit of a Star Trek fan. Troy, you remember Troy? Anybody? Yeah? She was an officer of empathy on Star Trek. The first one in human history. Today, we actually do have some people that put empathy first in their corporations. Google went out and measured what comprises really great teams. People like you, yeah? And they were thinking, you know, it's going to be science, technology, engineering, and math, the STEM education. The higher education, the better the team. This is how they employed. They were surprised. You know, STEM came in number 7 on the list. First came communication and listening well, possessing insights into others, having empathy towards being supportive, for one calling, you know, being a good critical thinking problem solver, and being able to make connections across complex ideas, so being creative. Equality, generosity, curiosity, and so on. That was revealed there. And we have been talking about this. Maybe not all of you, but last year, that guy was on a conference far, far away, that was in Vienna, and we talked about something called the Humachine, which was a part of this human ingenuity, machine intelligence. We called it the Humachine intelligence, where the job is to surface your experiences to the foreground, because you're too skilled to be lost in a number of operational data. And it took some while, took a year actually, for Wired to discover that this is a great topic. But they did. We are not stuck in traffic. We are the traffic. We are the humans that run this world. Our experiences are that world, the thing that makes this world run around. Instead of thinking about machine intelligence in terms of human versus machine, we should consider the system that integrates humans and machines. No artificial intelligence, but extended intelligence. And I love that. A friend of mine, Roman Lipski, you can see him there. He lives here in Berlin. He's an artist. He said, "Okay, I'm an artist. I'm, the epitaph of the human ingenuity and creativity." He can't code, but he knows people like you. So he hooked up with 3 machine learning dudes here from Berlin, and they built an art collective. And they started to, that's Florian, by the way, anyway. So they started to look how he paints. Photograph, feed the machine, feed the algorithms, and try to spit out something that he would like. In the end, Roman and the machine were painting together for each other. Isn't that beautiful? It's love. And I asked him actually, hey, you're an artist, you're a painter. You really need to be honest if you tell me, are you inspired? Be honest, like 100%, like only an artist can be. He said, yes, this machine is my muse. This is my new muse. Another piece of art was this. Someone measured the sentiment or internet for London, different parts of London, how people feel. And apparently Sutton, a part of London, was the saddest, and Buxley was the happiest. But actually that changed across the week, across times of day, and so on. So something is going on. And can you see how you can use this emotional data for operational data? Where to have ambulances, police, support. Whatever you can imagine to support the people to feel better. Because we live in this experience economy. And I was surprised myself, working for SAP, to see this clip from SAP. You get the idea. I think experience economy is not only that. It's the whole idea of making these experiences. And I cannot know any better gang of people than you guys that make stuff happen. You actually built it. And if you wonder what job description you should have, I don't know how much you browse ISO numbers. Anyone? Friday night? Yeah. That's very, very geeky thing to do. Apparently, I also browse ISO numbers, so I looked up this ISO number. It's a very good one. And I'm taking this home with me. Let's read it out loud. Human experience includes all the user's emotions, beliefs, preferences, perceptions, physical and psychological responses, behaviors and accomplishments that occur before, during, and after use. That's your job. Get a cup of coffee, because there's a lot you need to do to get it right. You build experiences. That's what your code is for. This is why you are so great and so important, and I think this is why you're here. Again, concept cars and imaginations, how can we combine this data? How can we be of help to people? Let me show you a short one. Some of you might have seen it, that we just did to play around with this idea, to fuel our rocket, to actually make it happen sooner or later. So this guy is out there. Let's call him co-pilot. It's my co-pilot out there. Hey, co-pilot, what's up this morning?
Good morning, Martin. You will have a fairly busy morning, but there is time for a good cup of coffee. Your biometrics show me that it would be good for you. With just one cup, remember.
Okay. I remember. One cup. So first, he knows my biometrics, he knows my body and physique and so on. He knows how much I drink in the morning. 1 cup, great. 2 cups, 3 cups, you cannot take a single decision right. Your eyes go like this. Maybe you are different, but this is me. And this is the appreciation of being Martin Wezowski, being me, and I'm feeling appreciated. He also is very nice. He told me a very rude thing in a very nice way. He said, you will have a fairly busy morning. You know what that means? You are just such a useless shit in the mornings. You have nothing done. Your colleagues do the double because they are maybe the morning person. But this is great. Now I can be my optimal self, maybe a little bit more than myself. I really appreciated that. So this demo is very long, but let me just ask one question. Hey, co-pilot, so me and Leia, we've been thinking about our team's satisfaction, how they work together, and you know how we can boost efficiency, but at the same time a great feeling among our teams. What do you think about that?
When colleagues travel so they can spend time face-to-face, your delivery quality goes up 5%. That saves software maintenance costs with customers by 2.5%. I found the routes that would make sense economically and that allow the colleagues to spend the most time face-to-face. We will review them tomorrow.
Okay, so we will review them tomorrow. So now he's my boss. That's okay, because I didn't even know that I had time tomorrow. How many data silos would we have to connect? How much data would we have to normalize and harmonize? How many ideas of correlations and causalities would we have to test? as a single human developer or engineer or whoever with a great idea to come up with these conclusions. Basically, we are removing the constraints of human knowledge right now. We understand that simple human. We're having empathy. We have the experience data and operational data coming together, driving businesses and changing that world. Some time ago, we were mentioned one of the most empathic companies on the planet, and this is great because good empathy is good business. And back then, it made us also the 42nd most innovative company in the world. And I'm showing, you know, number 42. It's a good number, no? Okay. You know what I mean. Unfortunately, we are now the 28, so it's not as cool anymore, but it's cool in a different way, by BCG. I think empathy is good business, and empathy makes you innovate better. You need to understand the data. You need to understand the content of what you're doing. But if content is king, context is King Kong. I know. So, by the way, I did this morning. I don't know if it's good. I think it's good. Context is King Kong. It's important because you can change it just slightly, and a totally different feeling in your body appears. You have a totally new, different experience of what could be your reality, right? Data is there. The context tells something different. Many years ago, Catherine Fake, the lady that sold Flickr to Yahoo many years ago, started a new company with a mathematician, of course. What else? And they started to look at human experiences by asking the question, because surveys don't work. You need to put algorithms to work. And they started to ask, you know, do you know what a cat wants when it meows? How do you eat your yogurt? And have some funny answers. And people really answered a lot because it was addictive, you know, it was fun, it was human, it was a good experience. But also some serious questions like, you know, if you adopted a child, would you tell them if they couldn't figure out? Now, this is fun, all games, but the seriousness comes here. They could figure out to a very, very certain degree that if you like Pepsi more than Coke, you believe in UFO. Yeah. If you read Wired magazine, you prefer redheads. If you use fake ID, you've been a teacher. Hands up. If you use a Mac, you're a dancer. Let's see tonight. Use iPhone, yeah, and so on, and so on. If you're a dog person, you watch Seinfeld. Anybody remembers Seinfeld? It was great, by the way. If you're a foodie, you fear dentists. They also found out that if you're, you know, here at WeAreDevelopers, you're an amazing person and likes country music. No, what? Yeah, anyway. See, almost all of that is true. How much is that worth for a UFO magazine, or for Pepsi, or for you? To learn a little bit about yourself beyond your own bias. Because you can have the operations and run your business perfectly. The cost of a project, my operational data, but why do people buy it? Why do they stay? How do they feel about it? My customer, you know, lifetime value. Yes, but how do they feel about being your customer? It's all about content becoming context, the human context. When you put data, it becomes information and knowledge and then wisdom. I love this pyramid. I stole it from internets. You have features, you put it in a bag. That one I made up, actually. It becomes a service. It becomes a relationship. And you are in the business of coding these relationships. You nurture and supervise them. If you're still in the business of collecting data only, and you don't know why, you might be below the line of the experience economy. Because there is something that we do that can be summarized as quality time at work. What I need when I need it. Respect me, know my situation, understand me, and make me feel safe and secure. And there is a time. What is my situation in my time right now? Because, you know, in 5 minutes you respond to one email, you're an employee. In another 5 minutes you're a budget holder. You negotiate with a customer. We have so many faces at work. Still, we are feeling, you know, our time is flying out. We need to respect the quality of work. The real human work. Exchange ideas, discussions, making decisions. That's hard. Evaluate, argue. Because, you know, the real human work is not adjusting margins in a Word document or filling in an Excel spreadsheet. It's writing a love letter, building a good contract, Writing a white paper you always dreamed to write. That's the human ingenuity. But we must be leveraged to become human at last with the data we have. And I think it's our job to connect these experiences together so we don't have to do this again. I love this application. It's called Pen and Paper for some folks in this room that never seen it before. It's great. You can do almost anything. Especially this one. This is a travel voucher, so you get your travel expenses back. Many of you will fill such stuff in after traveling home. Now, this gentleman was on a business trip. 1969, he traveled somewhere and he used a company vehicle. That company vehicle was a spacecraft. He went to the moon. Yeah, this is Buzz Aldrin's expense. And he had to fill this in to get his freaking $33 back. Yeah. Do you think he imagined that 47 years later he would make a joke about it to the whole world, however that would work? But he did. You know, we're taking these giant leaps into the future. I think it's amazing. And I made, as a sort of an ending of this story, a last list how to create the future. I have no idea if this is true, but I'm testing this on you. You need to say it. Articulation of what you want is important. But you need to make us see, make it visible, yeah? Make it sensorial, make a movie, I don't know. Because you need to make us feel. Emotional intelligence, be empathic, understand, but have the operational data to support the feelings. And you need to love complexity. The next big thing is not a thing. It's a relationship between many different things. This is why you need to love diversity. You know, to have one great idea, you first need to have many, many different ideas. And the future is created from the connections between the previously unconnected and maybe not even compatible. Complete each other. Don't compete with each other. You are all unique. Therefore, by definition, you're a different class. You cannot compete, but you do complete each other. You complement. The complementarity of the future is something that you should look for. And love change. Good relationships are emergent. They are not planned. If you plan your relationship by the minute, you're a little bit of an asshole. Now, maybe then you fear instability. Oh, we have no plan. But that's the thing. The opposite to stability is not instability. It's emergence. It's evolution. It's a human discussion. And in the end, take decisions. What is your plan? How will you change the world? Say it. Comes back to you articulating the future. And look for synchronicity. Meet new people and try to understand how the future works. And maybe then, something new can happen. Maybe then you can actually answer this question. Why are you relevant 10 years from now? Don't take it too personally, or maybe do. Because if you cannot explain to yourself eloquently why you're relevant 10 years from now, as a company, as a team, as an idea, you're risking not being relevant 10 years from now. So I think our job this weekend will be to try to have a first glimpse of that question. Because if we do, maybe we actually can design a future we all want to live in. But also remember, if this feels scary, you're only a ghost, driving a meat-coated skeleton made from stardust, riding a rock, hurtling through space. So fear nothing. And remember, we are in Berlin and it's Friday night. Thank you very much.